What is going on, my dudes? Today I have something totally different. I'm hyped up on fucking energy drinks, and we got the YouTube terms of service in front of us right now. So everybody in the chat was like, hey, for the next podcast, do your reaction to the YouTube terms of service. There's a ton of bullshit on here. My phone's going off. Oops. Forgot to turn that off before we started. Who am I? It's a Gundam? Jesus, I always gave him shit for not muting his phone before he started his videos, and here I am doing the exact same fucking thing. Actually, to be fair, this is a phone that's not even activated right now that I was planning on selling. Alright, who did it? Who did it? Soak! Soak, you sent a message on Discord and you ruined this video. It's all your fault! It was you! I'm kidding, I love you. Anyways, you can tell this video is already silly, but what I wanted to try and do, and then maybe this will be boring, and maybe I'll just do a typical bonus podcast, but the idea right now was for a change, to let everybody have this podcast. Even though the bonus podcast is typically for 5+ patrons, I figure for a bonus podcast such as this, I'm sure everyone is ready to chomp at the bit and get a ringside seat for some YouTube reaming. So here we are. We're going to go through the entire YouTube terms of service. I'm sure this is going to be very boring, but I'm going to try my best to make it interesting and just see. I haven't read through it yet. I just know people don't like it. I've heard the things, like a couple little choice quotes from the TOS that people are worried about, but I've not dug deep. We're going to do it right now. So we're just going to go through this and see how bad it is, or how good it is, or how concerned or not concerned I am as a YouTube kind of guy. All right. Terms of service. Our terms of service are changing on the 10th of December 2019. You can preview the updated terms. Until the 10th of December 2019, the terms below will continue to apply. So this must be the old terms of service. So I want to preview the updated terms of service right here. Okay, this is the December 10th one. I almost read the wrong thing. It's good I started in that box. Okay. Welcome to YouTube. Stop trying to be my friend, YouTube. Introduction. Thank you for using the YouTube platform and the product, service, and features we make available to you as part of our platform, collectively referred to as the service. Our service. The service allows you to discover, watch, and share videos and other content, provides a forum for people to connect, inform, and inspire across the globe, and act as a distribution platform for original content creators and advertisers large and small. We provide lots of information about our products and how to use them in our help center. Among other things, you can find out about YouTube Kids, the YouTube Partner Program, and YouTube paid membership and purchases, where available. You can also read all about enjoying content on other devices like your television, your game console, or Google Home. I didn't know you could use YouTube with Google Home. I'd be interested to try that, actually, as I got a Google Home with Spotify. Your service provider. The entity providing the service is Google LLC, a company operating under the laws of Delaware, located at 1600 Amphitheater Parkway, Mountain View, California, 94043. Huh. It's in California, but they're operating under the laws of Delaware. More corporate bullshit that I'm sure benefits them somehow that I don't understand. Referred to here as YouTube, we, us, or our. References to YouTube's affiliates in these terms means other companies within the Alphabet Incorporated corporate group, now or in the future. Applicable terms. Your use of the service is subject to these terms, the YouTube community guidelines, and the policy, safety, and copyright policies are going to be updated from time to time. Together, this agreement. Your agreement with us will also include the advertising on YouTube policies. If you provide advertising or sponsorships to the service, incorporate paid promotions in your content. Any other links or references provided to these terms are for informational use only, are not part of the agreement. I can already feel my brain beginning to turn off from all this like very complicated ways of saying just normal shit. Like, this is like not laden with corporatese and legalese that a lot of these contracts usually are, and I suppose that's probably the point because they want people to know about this stuff, which is why they're letting the preview be a thing in the first place, but it's still just boring as fuck. Please read this agreement carefully and make sure you understand it. If you do not understand the agreement or do not accept any part of it, then you may not use the service. Great. If you're too dumb, you can't use YouTube. Excellent. There's no way to like contact them, of course. There's no way to contact and get clarification on this agreement. You're just banned from using the service if you don't understand part of it. Go fuck yourself. Who may use the service? Age requirements. You must be at least 13 years old to use the service. However, children of all ages may use YouTube Kids where available if enabled by a parent or legal guardian. Okay, So I know this is an old hat argument, but I figured I'd just bring it up now. YouTube Kids is a thing. So why do we have all this controversy about like making all ages safe content on YouTube proper? Just like cordon off YouTube Kids and just be like, look, if you want your baby YouTube, we've made it. We literally have it in existence. So like run ads on YouTube Kids and like let the all ages content be on there and just have an understanding that big boy YouTube is for big boys. But no, we can't do that. Because YouTube.com has the brand recognition, not YouTube Kids. We don't have a YouTube Kids ads. Go fuck yourself. Remind me tomorrow. Jesus Christ. All right. Whatever. Permission by parent or guardian. If you are considered a minor in your country, you represent that you have your parent or guardian's permission to use the service. Please have them read this agreement with you. If you are a parent or legal guardian of a minor in your country, by allowing your child to use the service, you are subject to the terms of this agreement and responsible for your child's activity on the service. Blah, blah, blah. You can find tools and resources to help you manage your family's experience on YouTube in our help center and through Google's family link. I'm so glad that none of the fucking parents who give their iPads to their kids and let the iPads raise them are ever going to look through this or understand any of those settings. I'm sure the lawsuits will continue to flow in regardless. Businesses. If you're using the service on behalf of a company or organization, you represent that you have the authority to act on behalf of that entity and such entity accepts this agreement. Your use of this service, I'm assuming this is where things are going to start getting a little juicy. Content on the service. The content on the service includes video, audio, for example, music and other sounds, graphics, photos, text, such as comments and scripts, branding, including trade names, trademarks, service marks, or logos, interactive features, software, metrics, and other material, whether provided by you, YouTube, or third party, collectively content. Content is the responsibility of the person or entity that provides it to the service. YouTube is under no obligation to host or serve content. If you see any content that you believe does not comply with this agreement, including by violating the community guidelines or the law, you can report it to us. Okay, well, I'm not a smart law person, but I guess they're under no obligation to host or serve content. I suppose you can still be a platform and say that. Because private company. I don't really know how those things interact. I'm not a genius. All right. Nothing super red flaggy so far. This is all the basic bitch stuff. Google accounts and YouTube channels. You can use parts of the service such as browsing and searching for content without having a Google account. However, you do need a Google account to use some features. With a Google account, you'll be able to like videos, subscribe to channels, create your own YouTube channel, and more. You can follow these instructions to create a Google account. This is basic. Nothing has changed. I would like it if you could have a separate YouTube account, like back in the day, you know, before like Google really kind of integrated everything. Simply because I know there are a lot of people, such as myself, who would be better and happier not being tied into Google. But of course, by using the Google account, they can collect all the data and, you know where it comes from, sell it to advertisers. Kind of gay, don't like it. Creating a YouTube channel will give you access to additional features and functions, such as uploading videos, making comments, and creating playlists where available. Here are some details about how to start your own YouTube channel. Basic stuff. To protect your Google account, keep your password confidential. Have you used the internet? You should not reuse your Google account password on third-party applications. Learn about keeping your Google account secure, including what to do if any of your unauthorized use of password to Google account. Okay, Your information. Oh, this is going to be fun. Our privacy policy explains how we treat your personal data and protect your privacy when you use the service. How convenient that they skirt that into a hyperlink that the majority of people, including myself, will not read right now. The YouTube Kids privacy policy provides an additional information on our privacy practices that are specific to YouTube Kids. We will process any audio or audiovisual content uploaded by you to the service in accordance with YouTube data processing terms, again, conveniently behind a hyperlink, except in cases where you uploaded such content for personal purposes or household activities. Learn more. What? Except in cases where you've uploaded such content for personal purposes or household activities? I'm actually going to click on that one because I have no fucking idea what that means. Applicability of data processing terms. Where the GDPR, the General Data Processing, I don't know what even GDPR means. Oh, there's another hyperlink to learn what the GDPR means. Jesus fucking Christ. Could go on forever. Where the GDPR applies to your use of the YouTube service, particularly because of the service for commercial purposes. Do you see how much of a mouthful this fucking sentence is? They can't just like say in one sentence what they're fucking talking about. They gotta like stroke their own cock and just make your eyes glaze over. So whatever bullshit they're actually saying, you don't actually want to listen to it because your brain just shuts off because you're not a fucking automaton. God damn. Because you use the service for commercial purposes or in a professional capacity, Google will enter into the YouTube data processing terms with you. Another fucking link. Jesus Christ. Please note that these will not apply where you use the service in the course of a purely personal or household activity and thus with no connection to a professional or commercial activity. Personal or household activities could include correspondence and the holding of addresses or social networking and online activity undertaken within the... That doesn't tell me fucking anything. That's just noodling. That's verbal noodling. This means nothing. They didn't... What the fuck? Was this helpful? No. How can we improve it? Speak English. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, well that was stupid. I guess, like, maybe it just means if it's not monetized. I don't know. It doesn't really fucking clarify it. Maybe I'm just a retard. It's totally possible. Alright, what else we got? Where did I even... Okay. Permissions and restrictions. You may access and use the service as made available to you as long as you comply with this agreement and applicable law. You may view or listen to content for your personal, non-commercial use. You may also show YouTube videos through the embedded YouTube player. The following restrictions apply to your use of the service. You are not allowed to 1. Access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, alter, modify, or otherwise use any part of the service or any content except A, as expressly authorized by the service, or B, with prior written permission from YouTube and, if applicable, the respective rights holders. Okay, I guess that's basic. I doubt there's really no way to enforce that. But sure, of course, you can't use our shit anywhere else. 2. Circumvent, disable, fraudulently engage with, or otherwise interfere with any part of the service, or attempt to do any of these things, including security-related features or features that A, prevent or restrict the copying or other use of content, or B, limit the use of the service or content. This is kind of interesting. I guess it's obviously, you know, on the face of it, it makes sense. Like, don't, like, allow copying or downloading, and of course we all know tons of services that break this little permission here. But, you know, interesting is, like, otherwise interfere with any part of the service. You could argue that ad blockers interfere with the delivery of ads, which is part of the service. So even ad blocking, using ad block on the site, could be argued as violating this restriction, and we all know we all do that. 3. Access the service using any automated means, such as robots, botnets, or scrapers, except A, in the case of public search engines in accordance with YouTube's robot.txt file. I'm surprised that's not hyperlinked. I guess it's an internal thing. And B, with YouTube's prior written permission. That's interesting because there are a lot of other services that allow you to ping things to YouTube. So I guess, like, those companies with those integrations are probably either using Google's SDK for it, or they have permission. But it's interesting that if you're a small guy and you want to write a script or something, I guess you're technically not allowed to. 4. Collect or harvest any information that might identify a person. For example, usernames, unless permission by that person is allowed under Section 3 above. Hilarious that you do this without... You can do this to any degree you want, but fuck you if you try and copy our business model. Fucking bastards. 5. Use of the service to distribute unsolicited promotional or commercial content or other unwanted or mass solicitations. Okay. Isn't that just advertising? All right. Sure. I don't really know what that means. I mean, I know what unsolicited promotional or commercial content is, but that just seems like the entire business model of advertising on YouTube. But okay. 6. Cause or encourage any inaccurate measurements of genuine user engagement with the service, including by paying people or providing them with incentives to increase a video's views, likes, or dislikes, or to increase a channel's subscribers, or otherwise manipulating metrics in any manner. So does that mean if I say like, comment, subscribe, it'll make me happy? Is that breaking the terms of service? Because that's like mimetic at this point, because everybody does it. Okay. Misuse any reporting, flagging, complaint, dispute, or appeals process, including by making groundless, I don't even know that word, or frivolous submissions. God, I would love if they enforce that more, because God knows every time you say something that someone doesn't agree with, someone's gonna fucking report it. 8. Run contests on or through the service that do not comply with YouTube's contest policies and guidelines. Okay, let's see what those are. Oh, it's not super long. That's good. YouTube's contest policies and guidelines. General restrictions. You are solely responsible for your contest. That is not true. There are tons of people who run contests with companies all the time. Your contest on YouTube must comply with all applicable federal, state, and local laws. Duh. Your contest cannot infringe upon or encourage the infringement of third-party rights. Duh. You cannot ask the user to give all rights for or transfer the ownership of their entry to you. There are definitely contests, maybe not on YouTube, but off YouTube, that do this all the time. Lots of like fan film or like short film contests for like theatrical movies do this all the time, and they run YouTube ads and YouTube videos for promoting that. Your contest must be free to enter. Of course, I don't think a contest has ever been paid. You and any third party may not manipulate metrics on the YouTube service, including number of views, likes, of course. Yeah, doesn't really have anything to do with the contest. That was already stated previously. You cannot associate or affiliate YouTube with your contest. Of course not. You must have a set of official rules, including link to the YouTube community guidelines. Really interesting. State all disclosures required by applicable federal laws, wholly compliant and consistent with the terms of service. Your content must be conducted and all prizes awarded as outlined. You are We all know some people who have not done that. You are responsible for your rules and all aspects of your contest administration. Your rules must clearly state that YouTube is not a sponsor. You must include a legally compliant privacy notice. Okay, well, nothing super surprising there, except that people don't listen to that a lot. Okay. 9. Use the service to view or listen to content other than for personal, non-commercial use. For example, you may not publicly stream videos or stream music from the service. Oops! That's so stupid, but whatever. 10. Use the service to A. Sell any advertising, sponsorships, or promotions placed on, around, or within the service or content other than those allowed on the advertising and YouTube policies, such as compliant product placement. Or B. Sell advertising, sponsorships, or promotions on any page or of any website application that only contains content from the service, or where content from the service is the primary basis for such sales. For example, selling ads on a web page where YouTube videos are the main draw for users visiting the web page. Okay, so for example, let's say the PCP, we make a website to host our videos and our content. We can't run ads on that website. That's a little fucky. The reason we're going there, people go there, isn't for YouTube. They're going there because of us. You're just the host. That's kind of fucking dumb. Reservation. Using the service does not give you ownership of or any rights to any aspect of the service, including usernames or any other content posted by others on YouTube. Well, duh. Changes to the service. YouTube is constantly changing and improving the service. Changing, yes. Improving, debatable. We may also need to alter or discontinue the service or any part of it in order to make performance or security improvements. Again, I can't put improvements in enough quotation marks. Change functionality and features, and make changes to comply with the law or prevent illegal activity or abuse of our systems. These changes may affect all users, some users, or even an individual user. Whenever reasonably possible, we will provide notice when we discontinue or make material changes to our service that will have an adverse impact on the use of our service. However, you understand and agree that there will be times when we make such changes without notice, such as when we feel we need to take action to improve security and operability of our service, prevent abuse, or comply with legal requirements. We can do whatever we want, and there's nothing you can do to bitch about it. Fantastic. All right, your content and conduct. I'm sure this is going to be a juicy one. Uploading content. If you have a YouTube channel, you may be able to upload content to the service. You may use your content to promote your business or artistic enterprise. If you choose to upload content, you must not submit to the service any content that does not comply with this agreement, including the YouTube community guidelines or the law. For example, the content you submit must not include third-party intellectual property, such as copyrighted material, unless you have permission from that party or are otherwise legally entitled to do so. We know how much of a struggle this has been. You are legally responsible for the content you submit to the service. We may use automated systems that analyze your content to help detect infringement and abuse, such as spam, malware, and illegal content. Would love if something could change there. Rights you grant. You retain ownership rights to your content. However, we do require that you grant certain rights to YouTube and other users of the service as described below. License to YouTube. By providing content to the service, you grant to YouTube a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free, sub-licensable, and transferable license to use that content, including to reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works, display, and perform it, in connection with the service and YouTube's and its successors and affiliates' businesses, including for the purpose of promoting and redistributing part or all the service. Of course, that's how the system functions. If you didn't have this license to YouTube, they could display your content to anybody else and the system would be pointless. License to other users. You also grant each other user of the service a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free license to access your content through the service and to use that content, including to reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works, display, and perform it only as enabled by a feature of the service, such as video playback or embeds. For clarity, this license does not grant any rights or permissions to a user to make your content independent of the service. So if someone wants to embed your video on their website to promote it or whatever, or show it off, they can. Again, kind of basic functionality there. Duration of license. The licenses granted by you continue for a commercially reasonable period of time after you remove or delete your content from the service. You understand and agree, however, that YouTube may retain, but not display, distribute, or perform server copies of your videos that may have been removed or deleted. That's interesting. So they can, and probably do, hold on to anything, even if you want it deleted. Excellent. Removing your content. You may remove your content from the service at any time. You also have the option to make a copy of your content before removing it. You must remove your content if you no longer have the rights required by these terms. Removal of content by YouTube. If we reasonably believe that any content is in breach of this agreement or may cause harm to YouTube, our users, or third parties, how delightfully vague, we may remove or take down that content in our discretion. We will notify you with the reason for our actions unless we reasonably believe that to do so, A, would be a breach of the law or the direction of a legal enforcement authority, or would otherwise risk legal liability to YouTube or our affiliates. Okay, I can't imagine a situation where that would be the case. B, would compromise an investigation or the integrity of operation of the service. Okay. Or C, would cause harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. The first two seem incredibly specific to legal investigation. This third one is very weaselly, or it hurt our fee-fees is really what that seems to break down to. You can learn more about reporting and enforcement, including how to appeal, on the troubleshooting page of our help center. Yeah, because appeals work so fucking well on YouTube. Copyright protection. We provide information to help copyright holders manage their intellectual property online in our YouTube Copyright Center. If you believe your copyright has been infringed on by the service, please send us a notice. That works surprisingly well in the few times that I've had to use it. We respond to notices of alleged copyright infringement according to the process of our YouTube Copyright Center, where you can also find information about how to resolve a copyright strike. YouTube's policies provide for the termination in appropriate circumstances of repeat infringers access to the service. We all know about that. Account suspension and termination. Terminations by you. You may stop using the service at any time. Follow these instructions to delete the service from your Google account, which involves closing your YouTube channel and removing your data. You also have the option to download a copy of your data first. Okay, it does not say here, and I'd be interested to know what it would be, because they said that even if you delete stuff, they can still keep a copy of it on their servers. But if you terminate your account, is that information expunged from their servers, or do they hold on to it regardless? Does not say, so I'm assuming the answer is yes. Terminations and suspensions by YouTube for cause. YouTube may suspend or terminate your access, your Google account, or your Google account's access to all or part of the service if A, you materially or repeatedly breach this agreement, obviously. B, we are required to do so to comply with a legal requirement or a court order. Okay. Or C, we believe that there has been conduct that creates or could create liability or harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. This is fucked. And the reason this is fucked is, again, it's so vague. What if somebody makes a video that gets a bajillion views? It's like, Coca-Cola's fucked and this is why. And Coke's like, hey, they're hurting our brand. They can terminate your account if they feel like it creates its liability or harm to their affiliate Coca-Cola, which I'm sure runs ads and is buddy-buddy with Google. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but that definitely sounds like the wiggle room is there to make that case. Terminations by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all parts of the service if YouTube believes in its sole discretion, go fuck yourself, that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. Here we go. This is the big one. This is the one that everyone's been flipping shit over. And yeah, it's pretty fucky. Now, commercially viable, right? This is the phrase that everyone is fucking nutting over in a bad way. What does commercially viable mean? In accordance to what everything else I've read so far, and what I've kind of understood just from like the talk about it and how I interpreted this, commercially viable does not mean your channel is making no money, because 99.9% of the accounts on YouTube are not making money, because 99.9% of the accounts on YouTube are viewer accounts. They're not, they're not running videos and they're not generating ads. The only thing they're doing is they're helping Google harvest more data. And then 99.9% of YouTube accounts that are uploading videos aren't really making any money either, because they're just not getting any views, right? So like if this was like commercially viable in the sense that you're generating us active income, 99.9% of the website would be terminated, and that's clearly not the case. When I hear commercially viable, my understanding of it, or my interpretation at least, is that commercially viable means your presence on the site is hurting our brand image, right? It's no longer commercially viable to host you because you're in conflict with the brand we're trying to build, and you're hurting our brand image or the brand image of the advertisers that we run against your videos. Case in point, Mumkey Jones, right? Mumkey was an edgy guy. They didn't like his content and they pulled him. I'm almost certain that this is to take care of characters like him, right? Because they can change their terms of service, which they are, and now they want everything to be squeaky clean. It's like, well, Mumkey Jones, you can't talk about school shooters on our site, so we're just going to kill you. And the really fucked up thing about this is that the service changes, like, it doesn't say it's going to give you any warning, right? Let's say you are a Mumkey Jones-esque character, and the terms of service change, and now, even though before you were fine, now you no longer are. There's no warning. There's no like, hey, the terms have changed. We found that your account is now in violation. Remove this stuff, or like clean up your act. Is like, no, get fucked. And the even more fucked up thing, it's not just terminate your YouTube channel. It can pull your Google account's access to YouTube as well. So you can't even make another channel and start over. This is just all kinds of bad. And it's bad because it's so vague. Again, vagueness is like how these companies in Silicon Valley thrive. By leaving enough wiggle room to like really interpret things however they want, because it's their terms, so they can say that this is what it meant at any point in time. This is definitely the worst part of it so far, and I'm not surprised that people are freaking out over it. I don't think anybody who's making like 5 cents a month on YouTube has anything to worry about. I think it's anybody who's saying anything with any sort of momentum behind it that is in any way disturbing, edgy, or counter YouTube's culture. You're the people who have to worry about it, because now you are in the sights of this policy change. All right. Oh, here we go. Notice for termination or suspension. Maybe I spoke too soon on the notification part. We will notify you with the reason for termination or suspension by YouTube unless we reasonably believe that to do so would violate the law or the direction of a legal enforcement authority, or would otherwise risk legal liability for YouTube or our affiliates. B, would compromise the investigation or integrity of an operation of the service, the same reasons above. Or C, would cause harm to any user, other third-party YouTube or its affiliates. Great, so we're just copy-pasting this weasel words. Where YouTube is terminating your access to for service changes, up here, where reasonably possible, you will be provided with sufficient time to export your content for the service. Okay, so fucked, right? Because here it's saying, we'll give you time to copy your shit, but we're not going to let you change anything. The decision is final. If you're no longer aligned with our services, we are not going to let you adjust to the new terms of services. We're just going to give you time to get the fuck out of Dodge. Fucked. Super fucked. Effective account suspension or termination. If your Google account is terminated on your If your Google account is terminated or your Google account's access to the service is restricted, you may continue using certain aspects of the service, such as viewing only, without an account, and this agreement will continue to apply with such use. If you believe your account has been terminated in error, you can appeal. I'm sure appealing will work wonders. Okay, we're almost done. I think the meat of everything is has been said at this point. I just realized my video is like super cropped compared to what I'm seeing on here, so I don't know if I've been reading stuff that's not even in view. I apologize if that's the case. All right, about software and service. Downloadable software. Where the service requires includes downloadable software, such as the YouTube Studio application. You give permission for that software to update automatically on your device once a new version or feature is available, subject to your device settings. Unless that software is governed by additional terms which provide a license, YouTube gives you a personal, worldwide, royalty-free, non-assignable, and non-exclusive license to the use of the software provided to you by YouTube as part of the service. This license is for the sole purpose of enabling you to enjoy the benefit of the service provided by YouTube. In the manner permitted by this agreement, you are not allowed to copy, modify, distribute, sell, or release any part of the software, or to reverse engineer or attempt to extract the source code from the software unless the law prohibits these restrictions or you have YouTube's written permission. Open source. Some software under service may be offered under an open source license we make available to you. There may be provisions in an open source license that expressly override some of these terms, so please be sure to read those licenses. This is the complete opposite of open source, so I'd be interested to see what parts could possibly be open source, because this is like the exact opposite. This paragraph right here is the anti-GPL. That's pretty funny. All right, other legal terms. Warranty disclaimer. Oh boy, we're in all caps land now. Other than as expressly stated in this agreement or as required by law, the service is provided as is, and YouTube does not make any specific commitments or warranties about the service. For example, we don't make any warranties about A, the content provided through the service, B, the specific features of the service, or its accuracy, reliability, availability, or ability to meet your needs, or C, that the content you submit will be accessible on the service. It can be fucked and it's not our fault. Limitation of liability. Except as required by applicable law, YouTube, its affiliates, officers, directors, employees, and agents will not be responsible for any loss of profits, revenues, business opportunities, goodwill, or anticipated savings, loss or corruption of data, indirect or consequential loss, punitive damages caused by errors, mistakes, or inaccuracies on the service, personal injury or property damage resulting from your use of the service, any unauthorized access to use of the service, any interruption or cessation of the service, any viruses or malicious code transmitted to or through the service by any third party, any content whether submitted by a user or YouTube, including the use of the content and or the removal or unavailability of any content. Wow. So like, we're not responsible for shit. Anything that happens is your fucking problem, buddy. We're done with the lawsuits. By using YouTube, you agree that we are responsible for jack fucking diddly shit. Any problems are your problems. Go fuck yourself. And it's in all caps, as if it's screaming at you to go fuck yourself. Incredible. This provision applies to any claim, regardless of whether the claim asserted is based on warranty, contract, tort, or any other legal theory. Is this gonna fly in fucking Europe? Like, Europe has crazy consumer protection laws. Like, is this gonna work? I see the EU fucking blowback hard on this shit, personally. To the extent permitted by applicable law, YouTube and its affiliates' total liability for any claims arising from or relating to the service is limited to the greater of A, the amount of revenue that YouTube has paid to you from the use of the service in the 12 months before the date of your notice in writing to YouTube of the claim, and B, $500. Okay. Indemnity. To the extent permitted by applicable law, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless YouTube, its affiliates, officers, directors, employees, and agents from and against any and all claims, damages, obligations, losses, liabilities, costs, or debt and expenses, including but not limited to attorney's fees arising from 1. Your use and access to the service. 2. Your violation of any terms of this agreement. 3. Your violation of any third-party rights, including without limitation and any copyright, property, or privacy rights. 4. Any claim that your content caused damage to a third party. This defense is and indemnification obligation will survive this agreement and your use of the service. You're in this shit for life, dude. Using YouTube, you are fucking until you're dead. You cannot fuck with them. Jesus Christ. This makes me like not want to use YouTube. Like, I don't like being bound for life by something that could bite me in the ass later. That is so fucked. Like, I'm sure this is standard operating procedure. Like, I'm sure my dick is fucking bound by, like, dozens of companies at the point in ways like this. But just looking at it straight in the fucking face, it's just like, go fuck yourself. Third-party links. The service contains links to third-party websites and online services that are not owned or controlled by YouTube. YouTube has no control over and assumes no responsibility for such websites and online services. Be aware that when you leave the service, we suggest you read the terms and policies of each third-party website and online service you visit. Common fucking sense. All right. About this agreement. Modifying this agreement. We may modify this agreement, for example, to reflect changes to our service for legal, regulatory, and security reasons. YouTube will provide reasonable advance notification to any material modification of this agreement and the opportunity to review them, except that where legally permitted, modifications addressing newly available features of the service or modifications made for any legal reasons may be effective immediately without notice. I already said this earlier. Modifications of the agreement will only apply going forward. If you do not agree to the modified terms, you should remove any content you have uploaded and discontinue your use of the service. Continuation of this agreement. If your use of this service ends, the following terms of this agreement will continue to apply to you. Other legal terms about this agreement and the licenses granted by you will continue as described under duration of license. Severance. If it turns out that a particular term of this agreement is not enforceable for any reason, this will not affect any other terms. No waiver. If you fail to comply with this agreement and we do not take immediate action, this does not mean that we are giving up any rights that we may have, such as the right to take action in the future. Fantastic. Don't you love how it's like, if we fuck up, it's fine. If you fuck up, you're fucked. God damn. What a bunch of cunts. Interpretation. Oh, this should be fun. In these terms, include or including means including but not limited to, and any examples we give are for illustrative purposes, of course. So this really does mean that anything can be interpreted any way they want. Governing law. All claims arising out of or relating to these terms or the service will be governed by California law, except California's conflict of law rules. Okay, I don't know anything about California law, so I don't know what that means. And will be litigated exclusively in the federal or state courts of Santa Clara County, California, USA. You and YouTube consent to the personal jurisdiction in these courts. Interesting, they mentioned Delaware law earlier, though. Effective as of December 10th, 2019. Okay, well, Jesus Christ. Another thing I want to do quickly, before we do this, is if I pull this back up and I bring this up here because I don't want to expose everyone's shit. Some people did Forgotten Paladin, actually. What's up, dude? I'm sure you're watching this. Pulled out some specific things. The limitation of liability, the licensing to other users. So we talked about those already. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Yeah, another thing he has here is I'm gonna pull this up in a new tab. Oh, okay. I guess we're opening up Audacity. Interesting. Didn't know that was even how that worked. I just want to pull up a screenshot here. I can't do that? Really? Huh. I thought I could just drag an image in there. All right, submit a copyright takedown notice. Another thing he clipped I want to make sure I got to. If your copyright protected work was posted on YouTube without authorization, you may submit a copyright infringement notification. Be sure to consider whether it's fair use, fair dealing, or a similar exception to copyright applies before you submit. These requests should be sent by the copyright owner or an agent authorized to act by the owner's behalf. The fastest and simplest way to submit a copyright takedown notice is through our web form. We recommend using a computer for the easiest method. The name you enter as copyright owner will be published on YouTube in place of the turned off content. If you can give us a valid legal alternative, such as a company name or the name of an authorized representative, we'll review and apply it if appropriate. The name will become part of the public record of your request, along with your description of the work's alleged infringement. All other information, including your full legal name and email, are part of the full takedown notice, which may be given to the uploader. Fucking hell. Dude, that's fucked. Like, I get why, and I would be fine with that if it was stayed internally, but the fact that you have to give your full legal name and your email to the person you have beef with is just like asking for problems. If you choose to submit a copyright takedown request, remember that you're starting a legal process. Do not make false claims. Misuse of this process may result in the suspension of your account or other legal consequences. I would love if this was actually enforced, because Christ knows this is abused all the time. You know, just look at Mundane Matt. And feminists, like a lot of social justice warriors love making use of the copyright complaint all the fucking time. So if there was some actual teeth in terms of consequences for submitting false claims, I would love that. So while it's fucked that you're exposing information, I do like the fact that hopefully this will mean we can start like actually punishing people who use this as a weapon and not for proper legal means. Okay. Overall thoughts, I suppose. Let's go back to the actual terms of service. Overall thoughts are most of this seems pretty standard, you know, like a lot of it doesn't seem too fucked, but there are some things that cause some concern. A lot of the problems with all these Silicon Valley terms of services is that they are loose enough to be interpreted in any way that could benefit them down the road. They give themselves all the benefit of the doubts and the users get nothing. And this is just another example of that. So while I would love to think that this might provide some positives in the future, we really need to find an alternative to YouTube. I know it's a fucking complaint as old as time. The chances of it happening anytime soon are very small, but it's just what I mentioned on Twitter a couple days ago. Is like someone was asking like, why hasn't there been an alternative to YouTube yet? Like Discord kind of became the replacement for Skype when Skype started going to shit. And my response to that was, and I stand by this statement, is that the reason Discord became so popular is because as Skype got shittier, everybody was affected, right? Because everybody uses Skype as a user. There's no Skype creators. Everyone just used Skype as a service. So when Skype got bloated and bogged down and shitty, everyone was affected. So everybody wanted to find a replacement. The problem with YouTube is that the people complaining about YouTube for all these years are the creators, and the creators represent less than like 1% of YouTube's user base. For consumers, there have been like minor annoyances, but nothing experience breaking, you know? If you're just an average chump on YouTube, you can still watch PewDiePie and it's fine. And because creators need the audience, only the creators are people who are really chomping at the bit for a replacement. And because all the eyeballs are still on YouTube, none of the creators have enough momentum to leave. Like you'd have to have a mass migration. You'd have to have like the top 100 creators on YouTube saying, fuck it, we're all going to BitChute on this date. Like if we really wanted to tell YouTube to go fuck themselves, we would have to have like the top 100 channels in response to be like, on December 10th, we are moving to BitChute exclusively. And we're pulling all of our content off of YouTube because we don't agree to these terms of service. And if you did that, everyone would go to BitChute, or a vast majority of people go to BitChute, because the top 100 creators on YouTube represent like 90% of the site's traffic. So if the top 100 channels all left at the same time, YouTube would be dead within a week. That's the only way we can actually get some change. We would have to have a massive like solidarity within creators all making a risky move at the same time. One person, McJuggernuggets leaving is not going to cause a change. Me leaving is not going to cause a change. Users are they have too much power right now because you can't build an audience without the eyeballs. And because of social media, everyone is lazy. They don't go to .coms anymore. You have to be on 5 websites and services. That is the entire internet. So, yeah, it's just, that's a problem. This is why we don't have a big replacement yet, because the vast majority of people using YouTube have no real issues with it. They really don't. It doesn't affect them, so they're not going to change. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening to this rant/bonus podcast. Maybe I'll do another bonus podcast actually for the people in the $5 slot, so I don't rip you off. But thanks for listening. Let me know in the comments if you have any further thoughts on the YouTube new terms of service, anything I missed. I'm not a legalese person, so I'm sure there's probably things that were kind of fucked that I just skimmed over without considering too strongly. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week.